Hi, this is Micornus Phokane, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. Today I want to embark on possible reasons why ministries just not working. Some of the ministries just not working. Possible reasons why your ministry may not just be working. Because there are those that have started ministries and they've tried, ministry didn't work, and sometimes you resilient enough, you get back on your feet, you start to establish a ministry as well. You look at it, it just doesn't look like it is working. And now I want to implore some possible reasons which might help you if you avoid or you correct them. It might actually help you to be able to have your ministry working. And that's the reason why we embark on this topic. Now, the first thing that I needed to look at, which could be the possible reason why your ministry is not working, you could have mistaken the voice of God from the very beginning. Because there are some of the ministers that really feel they've had God, and sometimes it is their own minds that have actually given vision to them. And sometimes people will say, no, I've had God giving me the vision, but it could have been just your ambition, your excitement or desire to become a minister that has made you to feel like you've got a calling. And this is very important. And that is why we have always, as Church Governance Solutions, classified callings into three. And we have said there are those that are called really, truly by God. And they've had God, and God has given them a vision. But there are some that are not called by God. They are called basically by other people. And these are the people that have got no calling, for instance, and you submit under somebody who's got a calling, and that person calls and co-opt you into their own ministry, and you feel like you're called by God, but yet you've been called by a person. And this is very important for you to take notice of that. And the other people category are those people that were not called by God. They were not called by other people, but they called themselves. And this is many times people that are very ambitious, people that may have realized that they've got money and they think that ministry is money. There are those that actually get into ministry because they think that there is an opportunity of making money through ministry. And these are type of people that call themselves. And I want you to be cognizant of that if you didn't hear God in the beginning, and that is the reason why some of the ministries failed, because people called themselves, and because they've called themselves along the way when they realize how difficult a ministry is. Because ministry is not a child's play. Of course, it's not for mama's babies. And that's very important for you to understand, that ministry is not just standing in front of people and ministering. Because there are those that look at the ministry, they look at the glamour of ministering for multitudes of people, standing in front of people every Sunday morning and saying a sermon. And you think that is all about ministry. And that becomes very difficult when somebody starts getting into a ministry, dirtying their hands, starting to realize that ministry is not about the glamour that people see. There's something much more deeper than that, because you have to be resilient. You have to deal with people. You have to make sure that you go through rough times of not having money in the pocket, and sometimes not being able to support your own families because of ministry, where people that you have taken care of, they reject you, while people that you expect them to take care of you, they are not able, or they don't want to take care of you. So ministry full of disappointments, and there are many ministers that are not aware of that. And that's the reason why sometimes people say they are called, but when they are not called by God, you cannot stand the test of time when ministry challenges come. And that's the reason why others quit and leave the ministry, and they look at it, they say, but the ministry is not working. Your expectations could have been the ones that made you to think that ministry is something else. But in the main, you find that ministry is not what you thought it is. And this is very important. Take care of that. You could have mistaken the voice of God from the beginning. Now, secondly, you might have started with wrong motives. And this includes the very same people that are looking at the glamour. It includes the people that think that ministry is money. It looks at those people that think that ministry will make them famous and popular, and they come into ministry for fame. There are those that come into ministry for money. There are those that come into ministry for power. So we have got different kinds of people that are coming into ministry, and when ministry is not fulfilling that which they desired, or it doesn't seem to be exactly what they thought it is, what happens is the ministry start not working for them. And they look at it and they say, but this thing called ministry is disappointing and it is not working. And that's the reason why it looks like the ministry is not working, is because you had wrong motives in the beginning. Now, I want to urge young ministers that are just being ambitious to feel they are called by God, that check your motives from the word go, because if your motives are not right, you are just not going to come right. And the ministry itself will never be okay until your motives are corrected. So therefore, it's very important that you check your motives much earlier on before you start, or even earlier on while you've just started. And that's very important, because your motives then becomes very important. So shape your motives into good motives. Make them motives that are reputable, the motives that will keep you sustained in the ministry, and you would actually continue even in difficult times, because ministry, as I said, is not for mama's babies. Remember also, you might have started with the wrong motives, but also possible lack of readiness on the part of the visionary to handle the ministry. Because there are those that are called by God. Indeed, they are called. But are they ready? Maybe they are not ready. Now, I'm always emphasizing this as Church Governance Solutions, that when you are called by God, that's the beginning of your preparation. So therefore, when God calls you today, it doesn't necessarily mean you must start a ministry today. So please be careful that you wait upon the Lord while in the meantime you're preparing yourself. And how do you prepare yourself? You might need to go to a Bible college. You might need to go to a Bible school, whereby you're going to need to study the word and to be taught about the in and outs of ministry. You might need to be taught about administration of ministry. You might be taught about how to deal with people as well. Because in that sessions in the Bible school, you'll be taught about the dynamics of ministry. You would know the challenges that ministry carries along. And you'll be able to handle people from this point on. And that's why we will emphasize this and say, please make sure that you are ready first. There are those that are not ready. They jump into the ministry, but then they realize while they are deep inside of it that they were not ready. And they get disappointed because things now, they're crumbling and falling down. It doesn't look like the ministry is having direction anymore. It doesn't look like it is worth it. And sometimes people even go to an extent of blaming God in this regard, whereby they feel that God has let them down by not actually shaping them up for the ministry. Come on, say, I want you to understand that you need to be ready for the ministry. Because if you're not ready for the ministry, you are going to blame God one way or another. And you're going to find ministry difficult, and you may not be able to continue with it. And sometimes ministries are looked at and say they are going wrong purely because the visionary was not ready from the beginning. Are you called by God? Yes, you're called by God. Are you ready? No, you're not ready. Now, the readiness, the lack of readiness, the readiness thereof is the one that makes you to feel like the ministry is not working. So, therefore, be careful that you need to be ready. The other reason that could actually make people to feel like a ministry is not working is poor administration and leadership. This is my passion. I would actually emphasize it, because you might actually be called by God, but if you lack leadership, you lack administration skills, you are going to fail, a real failure. And I want to emphasize that majority of the people run the ministry without knowledge of leading people, without knowledge of administration. Remember that ministry then become an institution. And as an institution, it needs administration, whereby you will appoint leaders, whereby you will have structures like constitutions and bank accounts and membership forms and so on. And all that speaks to administration. There will be money actually given into the ministry. Are you able to manage it? Are you able to administrate it? And that's very key, because if you are not able to do that, the ministry will fail and it will crumble and fall, because you are not having good administration. Leadership of people, it includes what we call emotional intelligence. It includes what we call ability to manage people, because it is not coming by osmosis. that you will be able to manage people. It's not necessarily just because you are born again, you are a minister, you are a leader, then you will be able to manage people. It is very important. You need also what we call psychological strength, whereby you are able to stand strong when you are disappointed by people. Because dealing with people is not for mama's babies as well. And I want to emphasize that and say be careful and don't take it for granted and think that things will just go smoothly. There will be challenges. So therefore, leadership skills are very important in regards to ministry. When you have got poor leadership, the church shall not stand and it shall crumble and fail. And that's the reason why some of the ministries fail. Now, I want to also say that when you are seeing a ministry falling off and not succeeding, it could be poor approach in appointment of leaders. Now, sometimes when you appoint leaders, there are those that will appoint people because they are their friends. There are those that will appoint leaders because they are their relatives, their family members, and they appoint them because of that. There are those that will appoint leaders that are not having leadership skills, but maybe they're prayer warriors. Just because somebody is a prayer warrior and they can pray doesn't necessarily make them leaders. And I want to emphasize that to some of you visionaries. So the fact that somebody is consistent in attending church services, that doesn't make them leaders at all. So this is very key, that you appoint people with leadership skills, people that are learned in leadership, that are experienced in leadership, people that are able to manage people and lead people. So therefore, appointment of leadership needs a careful attention by making sure that you scrutinize the type of people. You audition them, you basically interview the people that you can appoint into leadership and really make sure that you appoint good leaders that are having leadership skills, that are having an IQ and EQ of managing people as well. Very important, because if you just appoint people, the ministry will fail, because ministry is driven by leaders. And the quality of the leadership makes the quality of the ministry as well. So please be aware of that, and we want to emphasize that. Sometimes the ministries are failing just simply because of poor location of the church, poor location of the ministry. Because where you are locating the ministry, it will be very important as well, because it should be at a place whereby people can attend, whereby people can be there. Because remember, a ministry is not opened for a place, it's actually open for people. So therefore, it must be in the accessibility of the people, where people can access the ministry. Many ministries fail because they are just simply not accessible. It's far, it's not easy, there's no transport, and it's difficult for people to get there where you are. So therefore, be careful of the location where your church is or your ministry is, and don't just rush and say the ministry is failing. It could be the location where the ministry is. And I want you to take cognizance of that. Finally, ministry started without salvation as the foundation. We have seen ministries failing because there are a bunch of non-believers that are gathering, and you call it a ministry. That it fails easily because these are the people that cannot live according to the principles of God. They don't know the principles of God in the first place. If they're not born again, and you say you are running a ministry with a bunch of unbelievers, that is bound to fail. And I want to end up with this one. And allow me, just before I check out, to remind you of our Facebook page, Micornus Phokane, our Facebook page, Church Governance Solutions. So please like those pages. Make sure that you follow us on those pages. And also don't forget our TikTok account, which is trending in a big way. So please follow us under Micornus Phokane. Don't forget our YouTube channel. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Young Men Empowerment Forum, and our YouTube channel, Micornus Phokane as well. And the good Lord will bless you as you do that. And when you subscribe, please click notification buttons, because we have got a lot of materials that we post at any given time, and your life shall never be the same. Allow me to check out right here and say cheers for now.